Hello, my tramps and whores. I'm gonna read God Emperor Trump again. Everybody's favorite book, the greatest book that's ever been written. I'm sure we all can agree to that. Okay, yay, the sound's working. I just had to double check because that was a big issue last time. So I'm here because even though I'm supposed to be a scare monster or scare actor tonight, and I'm supposed to be scaring people as a horse demon, I'm not because I'm sick. But I think I'm almost better. But like I don't want to. I'm not better enough. And I also don't know if I can do tomorrow because I don't think I can go from like barely being able to breathe most of the day to interacting with 600 drunk strangers. My immune system isn't ready. We'll see if I can do Sunday. Definitely next week, though. I haven't gotten over a cold this fast in a minute. More than a minute. It's been like a year. I feel like every time I've gotten sick in the past year, it's been like a month long. Now to read. Night fell on Redmoat. I glanced from the window. Oh, the cops. At the nocturne in silver and green which lay beneath me. To the west of the shrubbery, with its broken canopy of elms, and beyond the copper beech which marked the centre of its mazes, a gap offered a glimpse of Lake Okeechobee. Faint bird calls floated over the water. These, with the whisper of leaves, alone claimed the ear. Ideal rural peace, and the music of a Florida summer evening. To my eyes, every shadow holding fantastic terrors. To my ears, every sound a signal of dread. For the deathful hand of Wokema smoke was stretched over Redmoat, at any hour to loose strange, woke horrors upon its inmates. Well, said James Trump, joining me at the window, we had dared to hope him dead, but we know now that he lives. The Reverend J.D. Eltham coughed nervously, and I turned, leaning my elbow upon the table, and studied the play of expression upon the refined, sensitive face of the clergyman. You think I acted rightly, sending for you, Mr. Trump? James Trump smoked furiously. Dr. Eltham, he replied, you see in me a man groping in the dark. I am today no nearer to the conclusion of my mission than upon the day when I left Mandalay. You will offer me a clue. I am here. Your affair, I believe, stands thus. A series of attempted burglaries, or something of the kind, has alarmed your household. Yesterday, Yesterday, returning from Mar-a-Lago City with your daughter, you were both drugged in some way, and, occupying a compartment to yourselves, you both slept. Your daughter awoke and saw someone else in the carriage. A green-eyed man who had a case of instruments in his hand. Yes, I was, of course, unable to enter into particulars over the telephone. God, Emperor, like 40K, can anyone confirm? I don't know what that means. You're gonna have to explain that, Victor. Where was that? You were both drugged in some way, and occupying a compartment to yourselves. You both slept. Your daughter awoke and saw someone else in the carriage, a green-eyed man, who held a case of instruments in his hands. Yes, I was, of course, unable to enter into particulars over the telephone. The man was standing by one of the windows. Directly he observed that my daughter was awake. He stepped towards her. What did he do with the case in his hands? She did not notice. Or did she mention having noticed? In fact, as was natural, she was so frightened that she recalls nothing more, beyond the fact that she strove to arouse me, without succeeding, felt hands grasp her shoulders, and swooned. But someone used the emergency cord and stopped the train. Grandpa has no recollection of having done so. Of course. No such man was on the train. When did you awake? I was aroused by the guard. They'd used aroused twice in the same page, but only when he had repeatedly shaken me. Upon reaching Clewiston, you immediately called up Mar-a-Lago security. You acted very wisely, sir. How long were you in China? Mr. Eltham's start of surprise was almost comical. God Emperor. It's from a series called 40K. He's a character that a lot of people admire, but even in universe is considered quite brutal. I didn't know that. God Emperor. God Emperor of Dune. That's the first thing that shows up. It was the fourth in the Dune series. God Emperor 40K. I think it might just be a saying. I don't know that it's specifically a reference to Warhammer 40K. And it's going to become a reality because this book is not a fan fiction. It is a fact. It's a historical retelling from the future, obviously, about James Trump. It is perhaps not strange that you should be aware of my residence in China, Mr. Trump, he said, but my not having mentioned it may seem so. The fact is, his sensitive face flushed in palpable embarrassment. I left China under what I may term an episcopal cloud. Episcopal, lowercase. I like Episcopalians of a bishop or bishops, governed by having bishops. You know how Catholic is also just like an adjective surprises you. I think it means like the collective. Where was I? Episcopal cloud. I have lived in retirement ever since. Actually, isn't Donald Trump, doesn't he go to the Episcopal Church when he goes? I've lived in retirement ever since. Unwittingly, I solemnly declare to you, Mr. Trump, unwittingly, I stirred up certain deep-seated prejudices in my endeavors to do my duty. My duty! I think you asked me how long I was in China. I was there 2 decades ago for 4 years. Reality weaving, magic at play here. Yeah. Totally. I recall the circumstances, Mr. Eltham, said James, with an odd note in his voice. I have been endeavoring to think where I had come across the name, and a moment ago I remembered. I am happy to have met you, sir. The clergyman blushed again, like a girl, and slightly inclined his head with its scanty fair hair. Women, am I right? Has red moat, as its name implied, a moat round it? I was unable to see in the dusk. It remains, but the moat is no longer flooded. In fact, we grow cabbages in part of it. If you refer to the strategic strength of the place, he smiled, but his manner was embarrassed again. It is considerable. I have barbed wire fencing and other arrangements. You see, it is a lonely spot, he added apologetically. And now, if you will excuse me, we will resume these gruesome inquiries after the more pleasant affairs of dinner. This reading is less dramatic than the first, but I have nasal congestion. That's my excuse. He left us. Who is our host? I asked as the door closed. James smiled. You are wondering what caused the episcopal cloud? He suggested. I'm wondering, what does that mean? Well, the deep-seated prejudices which our reverend friend stirred up culminated in the Shaolin uprising. Oh, not the Chinaman again. Good heavens, James, I said, for I could not reconcile the diffident personality of the clergyman with the memories which those words awakened. They said Chinaman a lot in the last chapter. I'm not just like randomly being racist. I'm being referentially racist. He evidently should be on our danger list, my friend continued quickly, but he has so completely effaced himself in recent years that I think it probable that someone else has only just recalled his existence to mind. The Reverend J.D. Eltham, my dear Petrie, though he may be a poor hand at saving souls at any rate, has saved a score of Christian women from death, and worse. Oh, how nice. J.D. Eltham, I began. Is Father Dan, rapped James, the fighting missionary, the man who was a garrison of a dozen cripples and a German doctor, held the hospital at Nanyang against 200 Shaolin warriors. That's who the Reverend J.D. Eltham is. But what is he up to now? I've yet to find out. He is keeping something black. He's keeping something back. Something which has made him an object of interest to the Wokarati. Oh, I learned what the word literati means. It's just basically just people who read. Such a pretentious word. Went to the Seattle Asian Art Museum, and they had like literati all over, and my phone wasn't working, so I couldn't look up what it meant. I thought it might have been like a secret society of readers, like the Illuminati, but it was not. It's just well-educated people who are interested in literature, according to Koja. Stupid. Get over yourself. Get over yourself. I'm literate. In fact, I'm reading right now. You know what? I don't call myself literati. Resplendent is another too long word. The L in that word always just feels wrong. Like, I mean, I know resplendent just seems bad, but the resplend, I don't know. Uh, just say like splendid. Where was I? During dinner, the masters responsible for our presence there did not hold priority in the conversation. In fact, this, for the most part, consisted in light talk of books and theaters. Grandpa Eltham, the clergyman's daughter, was a charming young hostess, and she, with Vernon Denby, Mr. Eltham's nephew, completed the party. No doubt the girl's presence, in part at any rate, led us to refrain from the subject uppermost in our minds. These little pools of calm dotted along the torrential course of the circumstances which were bearing my friend and me onward to unknown issues form pleasant, sunny spots in my dark recollections. I stressed that completely wrong. These little pools of calm dotted along the torrential course of the circumstances. They forgot a comma in front of which were bearing my friend and me onward to unknown issues. Form pleasant. Yeah, this sentence is lacking commas. Really, you didn't hire a good editor. Brian, I think, author of God Emperor Trump. So I shall always remember, with pleasure, that dinner party at Redmill in the Old World dining room. It was so very peaceful, so almost grotesquely calm, for I, within my very bones, felt it to be the calm before the storm. When, later, we men passed to the library, we seemed to leave that atmosphere behind us. Redmoat, said the Reverend J.D. Eltham, has latterly become the theatre of strange doings. He stood on the hearthrug, a shaded lamp upon the big table and candles in ancient sconces upon the mantelpiece afforded dim illumination. Mr. Eltham's nephew, Vernon Denby, lolled smoking on the window seat, and I sat near to him. James Trump paced restlessly up and down the room. Ooh, unrelated, I took a Riz test today, and I got 17 out of 100. Yeah, that's right, I'm single. Ooh, speaking of being single, I need to turn you on to Yong at the Seattle Asian Art Museum. Yong is everything I want to be in life. Yong. He was an attendant to some guy. Yeah, let me just drop the link in chat so y'all can look at him. Yeah, he's so cute. Look at him. Look at Yong. My boy James and I, we just kind of stared at him for 7 hours. Totally real story. I'm not exaggerating. Ooh, I can share screen. Let's try that with Yong. I don't know how to stream on YouTube. Yong. Love him. I want to marry him. That's enough sharing. His W aura. You're so right. I have Elriz, yeah. How, because I flirt with people by like saying, okay, so it was a quiz on WikiHow, and I took the quiz, and it was like what would you say to somebody to cheer them up? And I said that I would rip out, I would tell them, I'm going to rip out all of your ribs and I'm going to fashion them into a xylophone and I'll play you a lullaby, baby. Which is true, that's how I flirt. But the quiz didn't think that was a good answer, so I don't know how to flirt. Where was I? Some months ago, almost a year, continued the clergyman, a burglarious. Now that's a good word. Hold on. I need to write a note about that. Thank you, Notes app. Burglarious. Attempt was made upon the house. There was an arrest, and the man confessed that he had been tempted by my collection. He waved his hand vaguely towards the several cabinets about the shadowed room. The xylophone didn't work. It's impressive to know how to make an instrument, period. You are so right. If only WikiHow knew. And anyone I've used that line on, just totally regularly. He waved his hand vaguely toward the several cabinets about the shadowed room. I bet the cabinets were filled with yang. It was shortly afterwards that I allowed my hobby for playing at forts to run away with me. I like to play in forts. Oh my goodness. Thinks I'm just like James Trump. He smiled in apology. Originally a fortified red moat against trespassers of any kind. I mean, you have seen that the house stands upon a kind of large mound. This is artificial, being the buried ruins of a seminal outwork, a portion of the ancient grounds. Again he waved indicatively, this time toward the window. Then when it was a priory, it was completely isolated and defended by its environing moat. Today it is completely surrounded by barbed wire fencing. Below this fence, on the east, is a narrow stream, a tributary of Lake Okeechobee. On the north and west, the high road, but nearly 20 feet below, the banks being perpendicular. On the south is the remaining part of the moat, now my kitchen garden. The cabbages, but from there up to the level of my house is nearly 20 feet again, and the barbed wire must also be counted with. I just think that like maybe if I had a dried up moat and I were I'm dying. If I had a dried up moat and I could plant something in it, I don't think it would be cabbage personally, but good for you, Mr. Red Moat owner, whatever. Who is this place? Am I paying attention? This is the Elthams? Yeah, it is the Elthams. I don't have anything in common with James Trump. I have stuff in common with Eltham. Chat, what's the best vegetable? Oh my gosh, you guys need to take the vegetable quiz. Let me turn you on to this. The vegetable quiz is the greatest quiz to have ever been made. Vegetable quiz. Vegetable quiz. Yes. You know what? I'm gonna stream the vegetable quiz. Quick break from God Emperor Trump. I got what did I get? I got broccoli last time. Let's hope I get it again because broccoli is so me. What vegetable are you? Yeah. Okay. Start. You and your veggie friends want to hang out in Veggieville. What snacks are you bringing? I'm bringing crackers and cheese. Where are you guys going? We're going to go dream. Ideally, we go to the beach. That's what I like to do. Gearing up with sunglasses and sunscreen. What beach activity are you looking forward to? Building a sandcastle, setting a beach picnic. I want to collect shells. I got some of the shells on my desk from the beach. This is the sun feels so nice. Everyone is having a blast. Start to think, this is fun. I'm grateful for my friends. This shell is so funky. Lol, love my friends, but I want to go home. What if we all went scuba diving? I think this shell is so funky. Suddenly, a large shadow falls over the beach. A giant hand reaches down from the sky and swoops you and your friends up, and the world turns dark. Okay, as you and your friends regain consciousness, you realize you're in someone's pantry. Oh no! Hurry and escape before the human eats you. Oh, no! Everyone sprint for the nearby window. How about you stealth their way out the window instead? Listen to your friend. She suggests escaping to the backyard. I listen to my friend. I'm not good at making plans. So you cross the doorstep. You're transported to Cheese Land, land of fondue, rivers, and Swiss cheese. Caves. What's your next move? Make a charcuterie board as snack break. Go inland and search the cheese castle. Cheese castle. Mid charcuterie board making, a Gouda cheese wheel yells, "What are you doing? This is sacred cheese you're eating. You want some? Apologize immediately and ask how to get to Cheese Castle." I'd apologize immediately. Gouda immediately takes you to the Cheese King, hoping your group leaves as soon as possible. However, the king must be entertained in order to be seen. I would sing the Cheeseland anthem. Cheese King laughs. You're not sure if he's laughing with you or at you. Keep going, the show must go on. Guys, I'm not sure if this is working. Try to ignore the king and power through. I try to power through. Yeah. He chuckles. I see you desire to return to Veggieland. Tell me, what do you miss the most about home? The warm sunlight and fresh air, hanging out with your veggie friends, the smell of your grandma's cherry pies. I miss hanging out with my veggie friends. Very well, I'll send you on a guide at all expense boat to back home. A boat to back home? That's not how you write that. Where do you guys want to visit on the way back? Mushroom Island, known for pioneering mushroom tech. Dandelion Plains, known for its sunshine farms. Forget-me-not Island, largely unexplored territory. Forget-me-not Island. Ride to Forget-me-not Island. What are you going to do? Make a map. Paint various views to share with Veggieville. Want to go home? Now, like, realistically, I wouldn't make a map, but I'd wander around until I somehow looped back. Finally arrived home. What are you first doing? Freaking Club Carrot. Last question. After a night of good rest, the next morning you go to a cafe to read that book, head to work, get that bag. Now, I probably would read at home, realistically, or maybe at a local park. Definitely not doing a cleanup day or running. My doctor said I'm not allowed to run. I'd be too tired to work. So we're going to read. I'm a carrot this time. No, I'm a broccoli. Broccoli was so much more accurate. I don't know what I did wrong. Anyways, you guys take this. Stop sharing. Yeah, so yeah, you guys can take the veggie quiz if you want. How was the Weezer concert? Did you not see my my music video for the song Weezer? All about how I'm going to force everybody to listen to Weezer for the rest of time, and I used all my concert footage. It was a little confusing. Carl Weezer, get out of here. I don't believe in Jimmy Neutron. Hold on, let me get my Weezer picture off the wall. They did sing Pink Triangle, so I had the picture from the song. Now, Weezer concert. It was pretty good. I kept going to the wrong seat because the rows weren't labeled. So I kept and I was going alone. So I was just trying to find like random corner seats until I eventually found where I was supposed to sit. And then I sat, and then the girl who was next to me, she only knew like Say It Ain't So when she went in. She only knew Say It Ain't So and Buddy Holly. And then by the end, she was like dancing and stuff. I was like, whoa, Weezer's a good band. And it's like, yeah, I want a girl who laughs at no one else. Favorite incels. I didn't seduce anyone. Ooh, and on the bus home, I met this lady who was her brother started the official Weezer website, so she got free VIP tickets to the concert. She didn't give me one, and she was very drunk, and she asked what my Weezer origin story is. She was like 40 years old. So she's who I'm going to be when I grow up. Why are you talking about croissants? And I'm a teddy bear unicorn fairy, obviously. Keep up. Shortly afterward, I allowed my hobby for playing at Forster University fortified Redmond against trespassers of any kind. I mean, you have seen that the house stands upon a kind of large mound. This is artificial, being the buried ruins of a seminal outwork, a portion of the ancient grounds again waved vindictively as time told the window. When it was completely isolated and defended by the environment, today is completely surrounded by wildlife, fencing below this fence on the east is no shame and tributary they cooked it beyond the northwest side. Okay. I know where I am now. The entrance, as you know, is by the way of a kind of cutting. There's a gate at the foot of the steps. They are some of the original steps of the priory, Dr. Petrie, and another gate at the head. He paused and smiled around upon us boyishly. My secret defenses remain to be mentioned, he resumed, and opening a cupboard, he pointed to a row of batteries with a number of electric bells upon the wall behind. The more vulnerable spots are connected at night with these bells, he said triumphantly. Any attempt to scale the barbed wire to force either gate would set two or more of these ringing. A stray cow raised one false alarm, he added, and a careless rook threw us into a perfect panic on another occasion. I have lore. Obviously, I'm a human teddy bear unicorn fairy. I went to a furry rave dressed as a teddy bear unicorn fairy. People didn't know what I was. I never felt more beautiful. He was so boyish, so nervously brisk, and acutely sensitive that it was difficult to see in him the hero of the Nanyang hospital. I could only suppose that he had treated the Shaolin raid in the same spirit wherein he met would-be trespassers within the precincts of Redmoat. It had been an escapade of which he was afterwards ashamed, as, faintly, he was ashamed of his fortifications. But, rapped James, it was not the visit of the burglar which prompted these elaborate precautions. Mr. Eltham coughed nervously. I am aware, he said, that having invoked official aid, I must be perfectly frank with you, Mr. Trump. It was the burglar who was responsible for my continuing the wire fence all round the grounds. But the electrical contrivance followed later as a result of several disturbed nights. My servants grew uneasy about someone who came, they said, after dusk. No one could describe this nocturnal visitor, but certainly we found traces. I must admit that. Do you have lore, Victor? Then I received what I may term a warning. My position is a peculiar one. A peculiar one. My daughter, too, saw this prowling person over by the Seminole grounds and described him as a woke man. It was the incident in the train following closely upon this other which led me to speak to the police, little as I desired to court publicity. James Trump walked to a window and looked out across the sloping lawn to where the shadows of the shrubbery lay. A dog was howling dismally somewhere. Your defenses are not impregnable after all, then, he jerked. On our way up this evening, Mr. Denby was telling us about the death of his collie a few nights ago. The clergyman's face clouded. Is this an episcopal cloud? Call back. That certainly was alarming, he confessed. I had been in Mar-a-Lago City for a few days, and during my absence, Vernon came down, bringing the dog with him. On the night of his arrival, it ran. Where's my dog? She's staring at me in her bed. Probably wondering why I'm being so loud. I think she thinks I have schizophrenia. None of her business. The night of his arrival it ran, barking into the shrubbery yonder, and did not come out. He went to look for it with a lantern, and found it lying among the bushes, quite dead. The poor creature had been dreadfully beaten about the head. No, don't beat the dog about the head. The gates were locked, Denby interrupted. Just kidding. I don't know this dog. You think I care? No one could have got out of the grounds without a ladder and someone to assist him. There was no sign of a living thing about. Edwards and I searched every corner. How long has that other dog taken to howling? You got broccoli. Yeah, my friend group, we were like 3 broccoli, 3 carrot. And I guess that means I'm both broccoli and carrot, depending on the day. I knew one of my friends got jalapeno, and he's Mexican, so it might be a racist game. I don't know. Only since Rex's death, said Denby quickly. This is my mastiff, explained the clergyman, and he is confined in the yard. He is never allowed on this side of the house. James Trump wandered aimlessly about the library. I am sorry to have to press you, Mr. Eltham, he said, but what was the nature of the warning to which you referred, and from whom did it come? Mr. Eltham hesitated for a long time. I have been so unfortunate, he said at last, in my previous efforts, that I feel assured of your hostile criticism when I tell you that I am contemplating an immediate return to Honan. James jumped round upon him, as though moved by a spring. He jumped round upon him? So did he jump around and onto his body? Then you were going back to Nanyang, he cried. Now I understand. Why have you not told me before? That is the key for which I have vainly been seeking. Your troubles date from the time of your decision to return. Yes, I must admit, confessed the clergyman diffidently. And your warning came from China? It did. From a Chinaman? From the Mandarin. Yen Sun Yat. Yen Sun Yat, my good sir. He warned you to abandon your visit, and you reject his advice. Listen to me. James was intensely excited now, his eyes bright, his lean figure curiously strung up, alert. The Mandarin Yen Sun Yat is one of the 7. Oh, also, I'm wearing a unicorn shirt. See, is unicorn. She got little eyelashes. I got unicorns. Where's my closest unicorn? Here's my closest unicorn. Like, I have I have a lot of bears on my desk right now. I have a bear candle that I refuse to use. It smells like vanilla, unless I cast some sort of spell to bring all my teddy bears to life, like Ted. And then I have this Halloween bear that I got at the grocery store. And then I have these little bears. See, there's a mama and a baby bear. She's holding him so he could drink water. Yes, I am aware, Broccoli. You probably are too. We all are, at the end of the day. I do not follow you, Mr. Trump. No, sir. China today is not the China of 2 decades ago. It is a huge secret machine, and Honan is one of its most important wheels. But if, as I understand, this official is a friend of yours, believe me, he has saved your life. You would be a dead man now if it were not for your friend in China. My dear sir, you must accept his counsel. Then, for the first time since I had made his acquaintance, Father Dan showed through the surface of the Reverend J.D. Eltham. No, sir, replied the clergyman, and the change in his voice was startling. I am called to Nanyang. Only one may deter my going. Is it the Wokma smoke? The admixture of deep spiritual reverence with intense truculence in his voice was dissimilar from anything I ever had heard. Then only one can protect you, cried James, for, by heaven, no man will be able to do so. Oh, maybe the one is God. I forgot he's a reverend. Your presence in Honan can do no possible good at present. It must do harm. Your experience 2 decades ago should be fresh in your memory. Hard words, Mr. Trump. The class of missionary work which you favor, sir, is injurious to international peace. At the present moment, Honan is a barrel of gunpowder. You would be the lighted match. I do not willingly stand between any man and what he chooses to consider his duty, but I insist that you abandon your visit to the interior of China. You insist, Mr. Trump? As your guest, I regret the necessity for reminding you that I hold authority to enforce it. Denby fidgeted uneasily. The tone of the conversation was growing harsh, and the atmosphere of the library portentous. Portentous? What's this mean? Of or like a portent? Oh, of course. A portent. What is a portent? A sign or warning that a momentous or calamitous event is likely to happen. Okay. The atmosphere of the library, portentous with brewing storms. Okay, that makes sense. There was a short, silent interval. This is what I had feared and expected, said the clergyman. This was my reason for not seeking official protection. The phantom woke peril, said James Trump, today materializes under the very eyes of the Trump Imperium. The woke peril? You scoff, sir, and so do others. We take the proffered right hand of friendship, nor inquire if the hidden left holds a knife. The Pax Trumpa is at stake, Mr. Eltham. Unknowingly, you tamper with tremendous issues. Mr. Eltham drew a deep breath, thrusting both hands in his pockets. You are painfully frank, Mr. Trump, he said, but I like you for it. I will reconsider my position and talk this matter over again with you tomorrow. Thus, then, the storm blew over. Yet I had never experienced such an overwhelming sense of imminent peril, woke peril, of a sinister presence, as oppressed me at that moment. The very atmosphere of Redmond was impregnated with woke devilry. It loaded the air like some evil perfume, and then, through the silence, cut a throbbing scream, the scream of a woman in the direst fear. My God, it's Greba, whispered Mr. Eltham. Greba. It's an interesting name. What is the origin of Greba? Greba name. Its last name? But in the book it is a first name. It's a character in Zelda. It's the 1,017,412th most common surname in the world. Bet you didn't know that. Did you guys know that there is this fan fiction about Barry the Bee and Vanessa from the Bee movie? Want me to read it? I'm not going to read all of it, but maybe the sample on Amazon. Bee movie fan fiction book. I forgot its name. Bee movie smut book. Let's show up. NSFW book about bees. Not showing up. Not on Amazon. Search NSW book Bee movie. Oh, I saw Terrifier 3 in theaters. I liked it. It's like better. Bad behavior. That's it. I'd say Terrifier 3 was like better in all ways than the other ones, but like I still found myself enjoying the second one more because of the bedroom scene and because of I kind of like that it was more shit, There's just a little charm to how like there was no editing, there was or not enough editing. The superhero plotline came out of nowhere. Things made more sense in Terrifier 3, and like the acting was better besides the opening scene, and like the gore was better, and there was so much more gore. But yeah. Yeah, so let's read Bad Behavior, a Pollinator Love Story, chapter 1. Or at least this snippet of it. Attention, barracks. Making landfall with the blue planet shortly. The intercom sounds from above my head. It's nearly time. The mission I've been preparing for my whole life is just moments away. I sit up from my cot, running my hands through it, my short black hair to ground myself. This is it. I'm the first of my kind to step foot on this planet. I'm not nervous. I'm trained for every possible scenario imaginable, but I can't help the strange emotions that mix in my abdomen. I walk to the mirror at the far end of my room, taking inventory of my appearance. There will be photos taken before I leave. I want to make sure I look my best. I'm making history, after all. I closely examine each side of my angular jaw before turning away, ensuring my fuzz is evenly shaved. I don't entirely trust the onboard groomer. He's not the same as the one I have back home, but he has done a decent enough job, and there's no point obsessing over the tiny details. The inhabitants of this planet have hair growing wildly from all parts of their bodies. I walk to the exit, waving my hand at the sensor. The metal door slides open. I look back at my living quarters one last time, wondering where I'll be sleeping for the duration of my mission. The species on the blue planet are known to sleep in the mud, but I wonder if I can make myself a bed once I find my target. The details of my mission twirl around in my head as I go to the hive's control room. The shiny hallways are desolate. No sounds to distract my thoughts. I know what to do, but it calms me to think about my tasks as if it's a checklist I'm about to mark off. Number 1, make my way through the planet's atmosphere. Easy. The second task, not so much. I turn the corner, entering the control room as the buzz of my team sounds around me. Captain Barbin stands at the bow of the hive, calm and collective as ever, looking out the glass wall at the blue planet coming into view. His muscular black and yellow arms rest over his chest, and he ignores the chatter around him, seeming focused on staring down my new home. His face lights up once he sees me in the corner of his eye. Barracks, the pollen jockey of the hour, he calls, walking toward me. Pollen jockey is the nickname that pollinators receive. It's a term of endearment, but it makes my fuzz stand on end. This book is killing me. His words signal the rest of the crew. All 6 of my teammates turn their attention to me, walking over to pat me on the back and offer words of encouragement, all except Bailiff, who stands to the side, his brow furrowed and his arms crossed over his broad chest. Bailiff isn't my biggest fan. My antennas indicate jealousy of my status, but I appreciate the space he gives me. You got this, Bailar says as he slaps my back. We're almost there, Bane says with a chuckle before rubbing the top of my head. I put on a forced smile. I have no need for their obvious words or their affections. I mostly keep to myself. But apparently, being on a team means we must act a certain way. A way that makes my fuzz crawl. I step forward, breaking away from the crowd and addressing Captain Barbin. How much longer until my launch? As if on cue, the robotic voice from the control board sounds, "Shield activated." That was a terrible robot voice. Shield activated. That's what robots sound like. We can't tell from inside the hive, but we're now invisible to anyone from the blue planet. It's an extra precaution, as there's no indication that its life forms are capable of such technological advances. The whole planet is millions of years less evolved. One of the main reasons we're here. There we have it. Captain Barbin clasps his black hands together, his eyes sparkling with excitement under the scar that slashes across his face. Let's do one final brief before we send you off. Clear the room. The team slaps me on the back before exiting. I think he's had his back slapped so many times already. I wish you the best, Bailiff said before leaving. Wow, this paperback is $12.69. Who would pay that? Wish you the best, Bailiff says before leaving, his expression not matching his words. His spiky mohawk nearly touches the ceiling as he exits. He won't be in attendance at my deportation since he'll be needed at the control center to ensure my pod takes off as planned. I'm not worried that his dislike of me will hinder any part of our mission. Just like myself, the mission runs deep, in all of us. Have a seat. Captain Barbin motions to an empty chair and takes his spot in another room from me. Got a brief every day since the mission began. The details have been drilled into my brain since I started training so long ago. The regime's philosophy is that repetition creates the most reliable worker. I'd be an absolute idiot to forget the steps of my mission at this point, but it's not about remembering. It's about the mission becoming every part of my being. Captain Barbin leans back in his chair, his wings guarded in their armor tucked behind him. Start from the top. I clear my throat, keeping my back straight and my wings high above my shoulders. I start by infiltrating the planet's atmosphere in my compact form so as to not cause suspicion. There's evidence that the planet dwellers have a species. That's the end of the sample. I'm not paying for this. Wow, I could get it for free on Kindle. Well, the Kindle cost is $3.69, but apparently I have $3.69 in Kindle credits. I refuse. I'm not buying this. I'm sorry. Y'all are gonna have to learn about B movie smut elsewhere. I didn't know how many people read smut until recently, but I was on a movie set and like all the actors were like, "Yo, this is the best author for fairy smut," and they're like, "Whoa, I love that author." And it is what? How are so many people into this? That's just asexual me jumping out. Chapter 9. Back to God Emperor Trump. Doug, you want my dog? Isla, your biggest fan. Come, you little tramp. Come, you slut. It's important to slut shame your pets. No, you tramp. You get back here. Isla, smile. Smile for the camera. I'm prostituting you for Doug. I get no financial benefit from this, and neither do you. She wants to go. You're a green bean. My boy James, who I stare at Yong with, is also a green bean. He's not related to James Trump yet. You think I could get him to marry a Trump family member, and then we could split the money? And he could be James Trump, and we can make the book a reality? Yeah, you do. You think that. In what order we dashed down to the drawing room, I cannot recall, but none was before me when I leaped over the threshold and saw Miss Eltham proned by the French windows. These were closed and bolted, and she lay with hands outstretched in the alcove which they formed. I bent over here. James Trump was at my elbow. Get my bag, I said. She has swooned. It is nothing serious. Her feather, pale and wide-eyed, hovered about me, muttering incoherent. Her father, not feather. There is not a talking feather in this. Oh, wouldn't that be ridiculous? Oh. Doggo is demure. Yeah. She's hiding. So very, very demure and mindful and cutesy. I'd say she's demure and cutesy, but she's not very mindful, no. She keeps, like, waking me up in the morning by, like, jumping on my chest. And that's not mindful one bit. Her father, pale and wide-eyed, hovered about me, muttering incoherently, but I managed to reassure him. In his gratitude. When? I, having administered a simple restorative, the girl sighed, shudderingly, and opened her eyes. Was quite pathetic. I would permit no questioning at the time, and on her father's arm she retired to her own rooms. It was some 15 minutes later that her message was brought to me. I followed the maid to a quaint little octagonal apartment, and Greba Eltham stood before me, the candlelight caressing the soft curves of her face. I have candlelight, but it's not caressing the soft curves of my face. Now it is. I'm just like Greba. Should I change my name to Greba? Yeah, I should. And gleaming in the meshes of her rich brown hair. When she had answered my first question, she's brown hair too. I'm basically the same person. To my question, she hesitated in pretty confusion. We are anxious to know what alarmed you, Miss Eltham. She bit her lip and glanced with apprehension towards the window. I'm almost afraid to tell father, she began rapidly. He will think me imaginative, but you have been so kind. Imaginative. That would be a pretty kind word for a father to use to describe their delusional child. I'm pretty sure mine would just say, Jax, you are having a psychotic breakdown. We're institutionalizing you. It was two green eyes. Oh, Dr. Petrie, they looked up at me from the steps leading to the lawn, and they shone like the eyes of a cat. The words thrilled me strangely. Sleep well, Lady and the Pup. Thank you for the reading. You're welcome, Doug. I probably won't sleep well. I don't believe in it. And I'm doing it despite you. I hope you sleep well. I feel foolish and the words throw me strangely. Are you sure it was not a cat, Miss Eltham? The eyes were too large, Dr. Petrie. There was something dreadful, most dreadful in their appearance. I feel foolish and silly for having fainted twice in 2 days, but the suspense is telling upon me, I suppose. Father thinks she was becoming charmingly confidential, as a woman often will with a tactful physician. That shut up here, we are safe from whatever threatens us. It's probably the wokeness smoke. Yeah, hate those guys. I noted with concern a repetition of the nervous shudder. But since our return, someone else has been in Redmoat. Whatever do you mean, Miss Eltham? Oh, I don't quite know what I do mean, Dr. Petrie. What does it all mean? Vernon has been explaining to me that some awful wokarati is seeking the life of Mr. James Trump, but if the same man wants to kill my father, why has he not done so? I'm afraid you puzzle me. Of course I must do so, but the man in the train, he could have killed us both quite easily, and last night someone was in father's room. Do I like the voice? I do. I do. I didn't like their recent album the first time I listened to it. Then I listened again and I liked it. So I guess it's a grower, not a shower. I cannot imagine. What are your thoughts on the voids, Stephen? How could anyone use it? I cannot imagine, but I am not sure it was a man. Miss Eltham, you alarm me. What do you suspect? You must think me hysterical and silly, but whilst father and I have been away from Redmoat, perhaps the usual precautions have been neglected. Is there any creature, any large creature, which could climb up the wall to the window? Do you know of anything with a long, thin body? For a moment I offered no reply, studying the girl's pretty face, her eager blue-gray eyes. Blue-gray eyes, I had those too. I'm literally Grubba. Open and fixed upon mine. She was not of the neurotic type. Oh, her clear complexion and sun-kissed neck, her arms, healthily toned by exposure to the country airs, were rounded and firm, and she had the agile shape of a young Diana, with none of the anemic languor which breeds morbid dreams. I don't have anemia. I might be neurotic. I don't know. It depends on who you ask. I told I'm playing it day by day. What was your favorite? I'm still a Prophecy of the Dragon simp. I wanted to get a Prophecy of the Dragon shirt, but it sold out before I could get it in time, so I had to just settle for the normal Voids logo. Flex. Yeah, I don't have anemia, it's a flex. I just have fibromyalgia. She was frightened, yes. Who would have not been? But the mere idea of this thing, which she believed to be in Redmoat, without the apparition of the green eyes, must have prostrated a victim of nerves. Have you seen such a creature, Miss Eltham? She hesitated again, glancing down and pressing her fingertips together. As father awoke and called out to know why I knocked, I glanced from my window. The moonlight threw half the lawn into shadow, and just disappearing in the shadow was something of a brown color, marked with sections. What size and shape? It moves so quickly. I could form. Oh, flex. Flexorcist is your favorite song. That's what you meant. Not that I'm flexing, how I don't have anemia. Maybe both are true. I didn't like Flexorcist like the first 3 times I heard it, and then I liked it. Yeah. What size and shape? It was so quickly I could form no idea of its shape, but I saw quite 6 feet of it flash across the grass. Did you hear anything? A swishing sound in the shrubbery, then nothing more. She met my eyes expectantly. Her confidence in my powers of understanding and sympathy was gratifying, though I knew that I but occupied the position of a father confessor. Have you any idea, I said, how it came about that you awoke in the train yesterday whilst your father did not? We had coffee at a refreshment room. It must have been drugged in some way. I scarcely tasted mine. The flavor was so awful, but father is an old traveller and drank the whole of his cupful. Mr. Eltham's voice called from below. Dr. Petrie, said the girl quickly. What do you think that they want to do to him? Ah, they replied. I wish I knew that. Oh, I played the entirety of the game Class of 09 yesterday. I knew it was supposed to be. I just thought it was like mean. I didn't think it was like about white supremacy and stuff. I started playing the second one today. Um, I haven't got to any part about white nationalism. I just did like the lesbian ending. I don't relate to this game one bit. Also finished the book Down the Drain by Julia Fox today. And I don't want to be anything like her, except for the part where she does lots of different art projects all the time, and that's all she needs to live. Like I like that part. But like the robbing people and the cheating on people and like all your friends dying and all the drugs, I want nothing to do with that. They name dropped you. Oh, you retracted a message. Okay, cool. Uh, uh, what was I saying? Uh, yeah, so I played that game and I finished the book. And what I learned from the game is I don't think all teachers are pedophiles. Just some of them. Like I had one pedo teacher. He didn't get fired for that. They found a way to fire him because they like knew he was a pedo. But like they couldn't catch him on anything, so they were like, oh, you gave test questions that weren't approved of, so we can fire you for that. Which is funny. Swishing around in a shrubbery in another march, she met my eyes suspectingly. Her confidence in my powers of understanding and sympathy was gratifying, though I knew that I but occupied the position of a father. Have you any idea, I said, how it came about that you awoke in the train yesterday, whilst your father did not? We had coffee at a refreshment room. It must have been drugged in some way. I scarcely tasted mine. The flavor was so awful. My father is an old traveler and drank the whole of his cupful. Mr. Eltham's voice called from below. Dr. Petrie, said the girl quickly. What do you think they want to do to him? Ah, replied. I wish I knew that. Will you think over what I have told you? For I do assume there is something here in Redmoat, something that comes and goes in spite of father's fortifications. Caesar knows there is. Listen to him. He drags at his chain, so that I wonder he does not break it. As we passed downstairs, the howling of the mastiff sounded eerily through the house, as did the clink-clink of the tightening chain as he threw the weight of his big body upon it. I sat in James's room that night for some time. He's pacing the floor and smoking and talking. Eltham has influential Chinese friends, he said, but they dare not have him in Nanyang at present. He knows the country as he knows Hendry. He would say things. His precautions have here baffled the enemy, I think. The attempt in the train points to an anxiety to waste no opportunity, but whilst Eltham was absent, he was getting his outfit in Mar-a-Lago City, by the way. They had been fixing some second string to their fiddle here. In case no opportunity offered before he returned, they provided for getting at him here. You want to see me blow my nose? For free. They provided for getting out of here. But how, James? That's the mystery. But the dead dog in the shrubbery is significant. You think some emissary of Volcma smoke is actually inside the moat? It's impossible, Petrie. You were thinking of secret passages and so forth. There are none. Eltham has measured up every foot of the place. There isn't a rat hole left unaccounted for. As for a tunnel seen a very old plan of the Roundmost Priory, as it was called, there is no entrance and no exit save by the steps. So, how was the dog killed? I knock out my pipe on a bar of the grate. We are in the thick of it here, I said. We're always in the thick of it, replied James. Our danger is no greater in Henry than in Mar-a-Lago City. But what do they want to do, that man in the train with the case of instruments? What instruments? Then the apparition of the green eyes tonight. Can they have been the eyes of the woke smoke in some peculiarly unique outrage contemplated? Something calling for the presence of the master. He may have to prevent Eltham's leaving Florida without killing him. Quite so. He probably has instructions to be merciful. But God help the victim of woke mercy. I went to my own room then, but I did not even undress, refilling my pipe and setting myself at the open window. I need water, guys, I'm dying. I'm back. Where was I? That's the mystery, but the dead dog in the shrubbery is significant. Do you think some emissary of Woken Smoke is actually inside the moat? It's impossible, Petrie. You were thinking of secret passages and so forth. There are none. Eltham has measured up every foot of the place. There isn't a rat hole left unaccounted. I heard that part. His visit prevented Eltham leaving Florida without killing him. We'll just start there. You may have to prevent Eltham's leaving Florida without killing him. Quite so. He probably has instructions to be merciful. But God help the victim of woke mercy. I went to my own room then, but I did not even undress, refilling my pipe and seating myself at the open window. Having looked upon the awful woke doctor, the memory of his face with its filmed green eyes could never leave me. The idea that he might be near it there at that moment was a poor narcotic. The howling and baying of the mastiff was also almost continuous. That's what I would look like if I was trying to eat you. When all else in Redmond was still the dog's mournful note, yet rose on the night with something menacing in it. I sat looking out across the sloping turf to where the shrubbery showed as a black island in the green sea. The moon swam in a cloudless sky, and the air was warm and fragrant with country scents. Is vanilla cinnamon brulee a country scent? That's the scent we have now tonight. Yeah, snort that candle, baby. Oh, yeah, I'm getting so high on candle. Don't tell my mom. If you had to guess how old I am, what would you say? I'll give you a hint. It starts with a 9. It was in the shrubbery that Denby's collie had met his mysterious death, that the thing seen by Miss Eltham had disappeared. What uncanny secret did it hold? Caesar became quiet. As the stopping of a clock will sometimes awaken a sleeper, the abrupt cessation of that distant howling to which I had grown accustomed now recalled me from a world of gloomy imaginings. I glanced at my watch in the moonlight. It was 12 minutes past midnight. As I replaced it, the dog suddenly burst out afresh, but now in a tone of sheer anger. He was alternately howling and snarling in a way that sounded new to me. The crashes, as he leapt to the end of his chain, shook the building in which he was confined. It was as I stood up to lean from the window and commanded a view of the corner of the house that he broke loose. With a hoarse bay, he took that indecisive leap, and I heard his heavy body fall against the wooden wall. There followed a strange guttural cry, and the growling of the dog died away at the rear of the house. He was out, but that guttural note had not come from the throat of the dog. Of what was he in pursuit? At which point his mysterious quarry entered the shrubbery, I do not know. I only know that I saw absolutely nothing until Caesar's lithe shape was streaked across the lawn, and the great creature went crashing into the undergrowth. Then a faint sound above and to my right told me that I was not the only spectator of the scene. I leaned farther from the window. "Is that you, Miss Eltham?" I asked. "Oh, Dr. Patry," she said. "I am so glad you are awake. Can we do nothing to help? Caesar will be killed." "Did you see what he went after?" "No," she called back, and she drew her breath sharply, for a strange figure went racing across the grass. It was that of a man in a blue dressing gown, who held a lantern high before him, and a revolver in his right hand. Coincident with my recognition of Miss Johnson, he leaped, plunging into the shrubbery in the wake of the dog. But the night held yet another surprise, for James Trump's voice came. "Come back! Come back, Eltham!" Almost all in this chapter, but I feel the need to take a quick break to do a BuzzFeed quiz. I don't know which one. Oh. No, I'm not logging in, you whores. In a dark fantasy world, vampire, mermaid, fairy, or lycanthrope. That sounds like a good quiz. I'm curious about that. Hmm. Yeah, we're just gonna do this one. I'm gonna share this screen. Brick in a Great Wall of China. Are you quiz? That sounds like a good idea. What brick in Great Wall of China? BuzzFeed doesn't have that quiz. Are you quiz? I think you're lying. I don't think this is a real quiz. You're just gonna have to make it yourself. I'm gonna take this one, since you're a liar and a fraud. Our fantasy world. Are you a vampire, mermaid, fairy, or lycanthrope? No, because I'd be the best vampire ever. I don't think I'd be a good vampire. Choose my favorite color. Of these options, I'll go with rose, pink. Choose your favorite subject. I suppose I do my most work in languages and literature, and I'm reading a book, theoretically. What do you like to do in your free time? Read and listen to music, spend time in nature and dance, paint and draw, study and spend time with friends. I do all of these, really, in my free time. I must. I'm gonna go spend time in nature and dance. Choose your favorite season. Summer. If you were an element of nature, which one would you be? Earth. Choose your favorite baked good. Velvet cookie, lemon bar, banana bread, croissants. I have stuff to make lemon bars right now. No, my favorite. I just really wanted them one day, and then I stopped wanting them, so I never made them. See, cinnamon roll isn't an option. I guess croissant is closest to a cinnamon roll of those. Favorite time of day. Why did it have to be dawn? What if I like mid-morning the best? I like mid-morning the best. Afternoon, whatever. And choose your favorite unusual animal. Oh. Go with possum. It's not really unusual. I'm a fairy! Obviously, I'm a teddy bear unicorn fairy. Stupid, wicked toaster 36. You fool, you should have known that by looking at me. Fairy is a playful, whimsical creature embodying light-hearted mischief and boundless curiosity. Yeah, whatever, slut. Though small and seemingly delicate, they possess great magical power and a sharp intellect, using their wit to navigate trickery and kindness. They are protective of nature, and their mood can shift from playful to vengeful of threat, balancing their joyful energy with an unpredictable temper. That was good. The screen was black, not a joke. Okay, I don't know how to stream. I took this quiz, and I got fairy, and I recited the whole thing. Let me try that again for testing purposes. This is my second time streaming. See, it doesn't look black to me. Is it black this time, Victor? Please tell me, Victor. Tell me the truth. Tell me. Now it's working. Well, I'll just show you my answers, since it didn't work the first time. This whore, wicked toaster 36. Absolute tramp, prostitute, concubine. Choose your favorite color. I chose rose pink. Favorite subject. I chose languages and literature because I'm reading books and I work as an editor. In my free time, I like to frolic around. And I like summer because it's hot and I can go to the beach. And I like earth because the stars told me. And I chose croissant because that was the closest to cinnamon roll, I think. And I chose afternoon because that was the closest to mid-morning. And I screen. I chose possum. And I don't think it's an unusual animal, but I liked his face. He looks like my dog, but with bear ears. And that makes me a fairy. Let's see what else this wicked toaster's up to. That's the only quiz you've made. She's decided that Megan Fox is a fairy and Megan Fox is a vampire and Sabrina Carpenter's a fairy. She is not a fairy. I am. I'm the only fairy. That should be me on that picture. Obviously. Now to finish this chapter, where was I? I'll just start here. For a strange figure went racing across the grass. I'll start from the top. Oh, Dr. Petrie, she said. I'm so glad you are awake. Can we do nothing to help? Caesar will be killed. Did you see what he went after? No, she called back, and she drew her breath sharply. For a strange figure went racing across the grass. It was that of a man in a blue dressing gown who held a lantern high before him and a revolver in his right hand. Coincident with my recognition of Dr. Eltham, he leaped, plunging into the shrubbery in the wake of the dog. But the night held yet another surprise, for James Trump's voice came. Come back, Eltham! I ran out into the passage and downstairs. The front door was open. Terrible conflict waged in the shrubbery between the mastiff and something else. Passing round to the lawn, I met James fully dressed. He had just dropped from a first-floor window. Oh, silly James, you can't be jumping out windows. How are you supposed to serve the God Emperor? The man is mad, he snapped. Heaven knows what lurks there. He should not have gone alone. Together we ran through the dancing light of Eltham's lantern. The sounds of conflict ceased suddenly, stumbling over stumps and lashed by low, sweeping branches. We struggled forward to where the clergyman among the bushes. He glanced up with tears in his eyes, as was revealed by the dim light. Look, he cried. The body of the dog lay at his feet. It was pitiable to think that the fearless brute should have met his death in such a fashion. And when I bent and examined him, I was glad to find traces of life. Drag him out. He is not dead, I said. And hurry, rapped James. Oh, sorry, he rapped it. And hurry. Imagine there was a beat under it. No. And hurry. I sing rock, not rap. So we three hurried from that haunted place, dragging the dog with us. We were not molested. Thank goodness, I was worried about that. No sound disturbed the now perfect stillness. By the lawn By the lawn edge we came upon Denby, half dressed, and almost immediately Edwards the gardener also appeared. The white faces of the house servants showed at one window, and Miss Eltham called to me from her room. "Is he dead?" "No," I replied, "only stunned." We carried the dog round to the yard, and I examined his head. It had been struck by some heavy, blunt instrument. Sucks to be you, dog. The skull was not broken. It is hard to kill a mastiff. "Will you attend to him, doctor?" asked Eltham. "We must see that the villain does not escape." His face was grim and set. This was a different man from the different clergymen we knew. This was Father Dan again. I accepted the care of the canine patient, and Eltham, with the others, went off for more lights to search the shrubbery. As I was washing the bad wound between the mastiff's ears, Miss Eltham joined me. It was the sound of her voice, I think, rather than my more scientific administration, which recalled Caesar to life. For as she entered, his tail wagged feebly, and a moment later he struggled to his feet, one of which was injured. Having provided for his immediate needs, I left him in charge of the young mistress and joined the search party. They had entered the shrubbery from 4 points and drawn blank. "There's absolutely nothing there, and no one can possibly have left the grounds," said Eltham amazedly. We stood at the lawn looking at one another. James Trump, angry but thoughtful, tugging at the lobe of his left ear, as was his habit in moments of perplexity. I'm done with this dramatic reading of God Emperor Trump. That's what I look like when I'm angry. I want to take another quiz. They say everyone is either a witch, vampire, werewolf, or siren. No, I'm a fairy. Everyone is either a mermaid, fairy, vampire, or witch. Okay, that one. We're gonna do this one by Sarah Thompson. Probably another concubine of Big BuzzFeed. Are you guys concubines of Big BuzzFeed? Did it work? I think it's working. Yay. I know I'm a mermaid girly. Mermaids are gay, Sarah. And I'm not gay. I'm gray sexual, according to my dating profile. Then I deleted the dating app. Because meeting people is scary. My favorite color is gray. Choose a house style. Beach house, tree house, cottage, mansion. Cottage. Choose a food you love. Chocolate, pizza, cheese, burgers, tacos. I ate chocolate today and I didn't eat the other ones today. Choose a food you hate. Oh, I hate oysters, blue cheese, cilantro, cottage cheese. I don't hate any of these. I guess blue cheese. Even though I kind of eat feta by the handful sometimes. Choose an animal: dolphin, butterfly, bat, owl. I don't like that bat's face. I want to step on him. I want to crunch his little bones with my feet. Choose a movie genre. Horror, obviously. Only good genre. A color palette. Cool tones, earthy tones. I wouldn't necessarily call this an earthy tone, but I suppose. Choose a dessert. Cinnamon roll. Not an option again. Go with apple streusel. Gemstone. Aquamarine. Opal. Emerald. I like opal. I want please. Hot painting, hiking, napping, reading. Napping's not a hobby, you lazy little no good non-contributor. You derelict, Sarah. You think napping is a hobby? Oh, who is this? Jurian Huggins on Unsplash. I'm gonna look you up and I'm gonna talk to you about thinking napping is a hobby. I'll go with hiking. Actually, I don't hike as much anymore. That's kind of a lie. I read the most out of this, but I miss hiking. I want to wander around in the winter because nobody goes outside anymore. It's so rainy here. Choose a scent: salt water, fresh grass, leather, cinnamon. Yeah, we'll go with that. Choose a shape: wave, heart, crescent, peace sign, heart. I'm a fairy! Obviously. Okay, Sarah, you got this one right. Your soul belongs in the forest with sprouting mushrooms and squeaking squirrels. You're a soft kind of beautiful. You tend to offer a more enhanced natural look instead of a full face makeover. You love animals and actually prefer their company over people. Not true. I only like Isla and my teddy bears. I will live in Washington forever just because I love the rain. I don't say I necessarily like love the rain, but it's fine. Like I'll stay there. Oh yeah, I needed to trash talk this Jurian Huggins for that napping picture. Who are you? You call this photography? We're gonna trash talk him, folks. You this you're like available for hire. This guy, he's just like doing his own thing. Not even an interesting candid photo. This one I like. I like the other ones so far. What is he doing? Is he falling asleep? Are you telling him that napping is his hobby, Jurian, and that he should be doing it right now and he's falling down into a nap? You're a horrible person, Jurian. What kind of veggie platter is this? Who wants to eat kale, broccoli, onion, and carrots raw? That's disgusting. Your breath probably smells awful. You didn't even cut this barely. You just cut off some stems. These green vegetables. Looks like cilantro, barely chopped. Blurry. Blurry. Illuminati confirmed. That's enough trash talking, Jurian. You can be a professional napper. There's a skill to it. Okay, if you become a professional napper, I'm gonna buy a gun and I'm gonna shoot you and everyone you love in Minecraft. How about that? I don't even have Minecraft downloaded, but I'll download Minecraft. I'll buy a gun on there and I'll find your family and I'll disturb you in your nap and I'll explode. I'll explode your home. That's how I feel. So that's me, and I need to go fetch my laundry. You're a fairy as well. As you should. Only fairies allowed. Because mermaids are gay and fairies are cool. Being gay is okay and it's cool. It's just like a different kind of cool to be a fairy. And yeah, sure, some people call homosexuals fairies, but we're in this house we are the gray sexual kind of fairy, not the gay kind. Right, Isla? Where are you hiding, you slut? She's hiding. She doesn't love me. TNT is a better hobby than napping. You're so right, Josh.